We have 4. Zooming in. Morning, everybody. Across the World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. Oh, yeah.
Across the World Wide Web. Good morning, everyone. Zooming in. Holy smokes, 14, climbing.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I'm trying to change my name and it's not working. We're Skating Success. We're Ben and Jadene. All right. Right at 10, we're going to start this. Let people come on. Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Is the number kind of counting in the participants column? Good morning, everyone.
I'm saying good morning from here, but of course you may be anywhere in the world. So good day, good evening, wherever you're at. We are so excited to share today's coaching secrets with you and welcome you. So here we go. You ready?
Ready. Let's get this show on the road. Morning, Nina.
Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Jadene, and welcome everyone from all over the world. Why don't you guys put in the chat where you're from and share with us how many years have you been coaching for? We want to get to know you guys and start building this relationship and welcome you guys to Skating Success Coaching Secrets.
Yes.
So, and one thing about the chat, if you want to send a message to myself or only Ben and Jadene, actually Ben and Jadene, can you change your name from?
Yeah, not right now. I'm sorry. No. Okay. I tried, but then I was sharing the keynote and it's already here. So okay, I'm Jadene and this is Ben.
Okay, if you guys forget, I'll put it in the chat. So if you guys want to only send a message to myself or Ben and Jadene, make sure that on the drop-down menu, you have only to all panelists. Now, if you want to share your questions or your comments, or if you have anything to say and you just want to share it with the entire group, then you select 2 panelists and attendees, okay? So that's just a little note on that. Now, we have people from Saskatchewan. Hi, Carla.
Oh my goodness.
River, 29 years. Hi, Kim.
Yes, Kim.
Mary Helen from Windsor, Ontario. She's been coaching for 30 years. Congratulations.
Yes. Congrats.
That's off to you. Melissa from Ottawa.
Hello.
15 years. Amazing. Wow, we got some veterans in the house.
So good. Thank you guys for sharing. I know that, it's really cool to have these online spaces so that we can be part of a coaching circle and coaching community. So thanks for sharing and jumping on, and your time is so valuable. And we know that that's the most valuable asset you have. So thanks for sharing some of it with us today. Nina, how's our volume? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you guys really great. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. If there's ever a problem with that, let us know.
From all over the world. We have people from Germany, Calgary, Fort Smith, Marwayne, Alberta. I'm from Alberta originally. I don't even know where that is.
I know where Marwayne is.
You know where Marwayne is. Yeah.
So we're from Edmonton, Alberta, so we know. So that's all good.
Amazing. Innisfail. Wow. Welcome, everyone. This is amazing. This is fantastic.
So great. Thank you, guys. Okay, so our housekeeping starts with who we are. So many familiar names on that. So you guys, the people that have come back again and again, like we were just talking this morning, it's our 5th webinar this fall. So thank you so much for engaging with the content, being part of the circle. But for those of you who may be new, Ben and I created Skating Success together. We are a couple on and off the ice. no para routines, nothing like that, but just coaching. But I have been doing choreography now for almost 20 years full time. I co-founded Skating Success with Ben and our partner Steffany Hanlen because we wanted to share everything we were experiencing, create more community, and give everything away that we were finding success with. So hence the name Skating Success.
Well, that's great. And I'll introduce myself too. And Ben, I think one of the things I want to get back to right now is I've been very privileged, okay, and privileged to have been a 7-time national team member for Canada, a 3-time world team member, a Canadian silver medalist back in 2004, and someone who I think, I'm just going to say, made the decision, and this is where, you know, looking back the last 20 years, made the decision to really want to continue in my own personal skating success and give back to the sport that I still to this day, especially now with all the stuff going on, really love to do, and really love to give, and really love to provide and to share, because this is what it's going to be all about today, is sharing. So yeah, that's an introduction to who I am.
Love it. And we really love to work together with technique and artistry and pull it together. So you're going to find anything you do with us, whether it's one of our products online, whether it's an in-person masterclass, we always like to bring both aspects together because we think we're stronger together and we have more fun. So that's the other piece of that. And Nina, I just want to say quickly, Nina is amazing. She is on our team. She is a coach and choreographer in her own right, a music guru. Okay, just saying, if you want music editing, she's an incredible resource there with audio technician and heart and soul. And of course, she has the leadership role right now, keeping us on track and bringing us things to you like these beautiful slides you're going to see. She's artistically directing all that. So I just wanted to shout out to you, Nina, because you don't always get what you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right, we are jumping in. I know you clicked on that button and you registered today because we are sharing secrets. So top 5 of our coaching secrets. And one of the things that is essential to us is the things that we share be applicable right away. So take out your pad of paper, your pen, your phone, whatever you like to write on. You're going to want to have your own personal notes on this so that you can refer back to them and implement right away.
Well, that's the thing too, and you know, a lot of these secrets, like I say, we're in some very experienced company here today, based on the number of years that our colleagues on this webinar have been coaching. But this has been 20 years developing, you know, these secrets that we're going to share, because again, that, you know, we want to make sure that this is part of, you know, getting out there on the web and sharing these days. Like I said earlier, it's just very unique times we have right now. So if we can get on and share everything that we've kind of been able to have learned and processed, and maybe what worked and what didn't work over the last 20 years, that's basically what we're going to discuss today on this webinar. We're going to have fun with it.
Exactly. They won't be secrets anymore by the end. You will know how to implement each one of these things. So we're going to go through those secrets, which really, truly, you actually know these in your heart. So we're really just reminding you of your own secrets to your own skating success. So keep that in mind. Then Q&A, we always leave a little time for Q&A. If a question pops in your mind while we're going through the presentation, just pop it in the chat. Nina's going to keep track of that, okay? So you don't have to like hold on to your question, pop it in the chat and we'll address it later on in the discussion. And then of course, we want to share with you our Icy Friday sale, which we've extended, that includes all our bundles for our products. So you ready?
I'm ready. Like, I'm in.
You were born ready. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. If you've attended one of our webinars this fall, you'll know that our tenet, the 3 things that we always talk about, are technique, delivery, and consistency. Whether it's training an athlete, setting up your session flow, or even planning a season with an athlete, these are the 3 areas that are part of our skating success philosophy. However, above that, you see the word philosophy. And how do we address why we do what we do and when we do what we do? So today, it's almost like we're going to pause on these 3 and come a little bit higher level with you guys, because we know you're ready for it. The secrets sit on top of this delivery system. Does that make sense?
You make so many great points. I mean, there's no arguing that, because when we look at the three boxes here of technique, delivery, and consistency, you know, we're going to discuss our philosophy for all of those, but also we're going to go into it a little deeper today and discuss, okay, you know, behind everything, there's going to be philosophics on the technique. There's going to be philosophics on the delivery and consistency that, you know, you develop your own coaching mastery around it. And that's why, you know, we have the master classes, because once we have the mastery around all of this, then we can deliver it to our clients and our skaters and who we provide a service to and who we show up for. So this is gonna be fun. We're gonna really dive in. I think this is gonna be a great webinar, by the way.
It's gonna be awesome. And I want to honor you guys for showing up. I know that you guys, if you're on this call, yes, you, the one sitting with your computer, the one who's comfortable, the one who's actually going, wait a minute, I can learn more. Give yourself some credit. Like at the top of your page, say something like congratulations and put your own name there, because it takes guts and it takes a certain type of person to be a great coach. And it means you are interested in your own coaching mastery and keeping your learning window open. So give yourself some credit before we jump in here. Okay, secret number 1, Ben.
Well, and this is the secret number 1 is your own philosophy. Okay, your own philosophy, your own personal philosophy. You know, we come from a place where we were mentored by a great man in Jim Rohn. We really dove into him. I was going to say the past 20 years, we never stopped diving into this guy. He was really smart. Anthony Robbins' mentor, but it's kind of like an edge class. It's a foundation of everything, a foundation of philosophy. And what we're talking about is, you know, philosophy, especially, I know I'm talking about these days right now, but I think it's never been more important to go back to, is that it's the set of your own sail, right? I'm going to use the metaphor of what Jim talked about, when it's the set of your sail. Okay, the wind's going to blow from any direction, right? And you're trying to get somewhere. And your own personal philosophy is going to dictate how you set that sail, right? I mean, my father's a sailor, so I have to talk about this in a way that's very personal to me. But that's going to be how your own personal philosophy shows up, is how you adjust and trim, how you adjust the sail, because the wind's blowing from, like, right now it's blowing from everywhere. It's going, this week it's this thing, this week it's this thing. And you're kind of going, okay, like that's great, but how we adjust it and trim it and still navigate towards that course is going to develop your own personal philosophy.
I just agree with so many points in that, because it's always coming back to, what am I going to do to set my own sail, right? So I loved your edge class analogy. As a skater, would you ever have your skater go out and start with a double axel? No, even if they've just done it, you'd want them to go out, get into the ice, hit their edges, and get with the ice so that they can then perform the harder tricks. This is the edge class of coaching, you guys. So just take a moment, slow yourself down, take out that pen and paper or your phone, whatever you're doing, write down, what is my coaching philosophy? You know, ask yourself, hey, why do you coach? Why do you coach? And guess what? It's okay to change your mind on the why, but it's very important to have a why. You know, you may coach because you love skating and you just can't get enough of it. You may coach because this is something you feel called to do, called to share. You may have had an amazing coach in your life. You want to continue that legacy. Everyone has their own why, but if we don't slow down and ask ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, our coaching philosophy can get a little bit muddy, you know, a little bit confused. And of course, then it's hard to set that sail and know where you're going. You know,
it's interesting you talk about that, because when we talk about why, that's the biggest powerful word, is why. Because you'll say, oh, you must have willpower. No. You got to have why power. Okay, when you have why power over the question, then everything just becomes a lot more clear once you list out what your philosophy is of why we do what we do, and how, and by the way, how we do it. So the why you coach is a great question. I gotta say, guys, you know, we're in December 2020, so the sea has been rough this year. Okay, you're in the choppy sea, you're in the big waves, and we haven't really had some peaceful water for a while here, with our big sailing analogy. So it gets hard if we don't have our reason why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so I just want to say, be brave here. No one's seeing your notes unless you want to share them in the chat. But why do you coach? What is the thing that's driving you? Another way of asking the same type of question to get at your philosophy, which again, you may have a different philosophy than when you started coaching. What do you believe the sport of figure skating is about? What do you believe it's about? I'm going to be totally transparent here, because this is all about revealing secrets. I went to university as a young scholar and I was all excited and I wanted to learn. And my whole goal was I wanted to help people. And so I decided, well, how do you help people? Oh, I guess I'll do a psychology degree. And I was about halfway through my psychology degree and I was going to the arena and doing choreography at the same time. And I noticed that when I implemented things I was learning from a psychological or scientific background, and then I implemented them with young skaters whose minds were open and they were willing, they were like sponges, I saw the connection. I was like, wow, figure skating is now a vehicle for me to help empower other people. And that really is what I believe skating to be. Well, and that's the thing, we all have to decide what it is for us and how we show up. I mean, just being involved in the skate. I mean, I personally loved it as an athlete, so I wanted to continue it as a professional and provide, you know, the service back, because I think there's just so much that I've learned from so many great mentors, and also develop my own philosophy around how to deliver it and go in. So, you know, you have to, I think it's a great question, you know, do you believe what the sport of figure skating is all about? I think it's the best sport in the world, by the way. I mean, I happen to think that it's second to none. It's just the absolute best. So that's what I believe about it. I think it's just the best. So I mean, that question out there, I just gave an answer with my own.
There's a reason it's the most watched sport at the Olympics, right? There's a reason. There's a reason.
Yeah, totally.
So put in the chat just the answer yes if you feel a little closer to your philosophy, or maybe more in touch with your philosophy. Just put a little yes in that chat box. And Nina's going to be counting yeses, so she can help share that with us. But one more layer to philosophy. If you're still struggling a little bit and you're like, I want it to be really concrete, you can think of it this simply. What product are you actually delivering to your clientele? So what is the actual product? I mean, a sow cow is a sow cow, but how do you deliver that sow cow? It's based on your philosophy. Are you helping that skater believe in themselves, for example, that they can jump, they can do a cool move on the ice? Or are you helping someone with their performance? Maybe that's your aspect that you're really working towards. So what product are you delivering is closely linked to your philosophy.
And great points. There's no arguing that, because when we look at product and service go hand in hand. If we're delivering a service, we're also delivering a product, and who we are showing up is that. And it's another good question to ask, because once we ask the questions, we get answers and we get closer to going to the next level. And once we get under there and identify that, that's where I think your next level of coaching mastery, like I talked about earlier, comes from. So this is another great question to ask.
Exactly. I hope we have some yeses. Nina, let us know if we have some yeses in the chat for philosophy at this point.
Yes, there's a lot of S's. There's over 15 yeses. Wow. And remember, guys, if you want to share and chat with the other people that are on and share your wisdom, we've had some great feedback as to what some people's coaching why is already. Remember to add or to use the drop-down menu for all attendees, okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's a great point, because, you know, we want this to be a safe space to share. We're not trying to push you to share, but we also want you to gain the momentum of the group. And sometimes when you share with other people, you feel empowered because other people are cheering you on, right? So that's the empowerment piece for us as coaches. We're trying to be a little bit selfish today and give you just coaching space where you can think about yourself. So that's secret number one. And I have to say, this thing is something that's worth spending a little bit of time on and writing it out, putting it in your journal or putting it on your coaching binder, wherever it's top of mind for you, and just visiting it. Whenever things get hard, it's easy to come back to, what's my philosophy? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So with that said, we're going to go to secret number 2.
And the secret number 2, know your coaching goal. Okay. And like Jadene was talking about, you know, I think it's a great time for us to, as coaches, to have a conversation, because, you know, I don't know if that's being had a lot right now. A lot of stuff, right? So this is where, you know your coaching goal, but also ask the question, maybe I haven't set a goal in a while, you know, especially during this time where we're having to adjust sales constantly and go, that wind's blowing over here. Okay, well, that hampered my goal a way I thought that was going this way. I mean, that was great. Okay, so now what? And then, you know, maybe redefine that and refine that and go, okay, fine. I know the goal, know I'm going to head, but that wind blew me off course big time. So how do I get back on track?
Yeah.
Right. So that's another great secret that we're going to discuss further in the slides. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth discussing.
Yeah, you guys, I think it's really key, but we often ask our athletes to set season goals. But when is the last time you asked yourself, wait a minute, what is my goal here? What is my goal? We all need them. We're all people. We're all human, right? We all need to improve and stretch into a better version of ourselves in order to feel like we're accomplishing something. And I'll tell you right now, there ain't no medals in coaching. Nobody comes up to you and is like, wow, good job. Like, usually what do we hear? The opposite. Oh, you know, I've got this complaint and I've got this problem with that solo, and I think your skater's doing this wrong. And you're like, thank you. And you got to go home. and you gotta adjust the sail. One of my little things I've been doing recently is as I'm leaving the arena, and this is just a habit or a hack for staying with my goals, is as I'm leaving, literally, you guys, walking to the car, it's a trigger for me now. I celebrate what I did that day. I tell myself, like as I would coach a skater, I go, Jadene, good job on that solo. That was a tough lesson. Or good job showing up and making sure you had energy for those skaters. Or good job doing the 18th version of that schedule since this change in the latest protocol. Whatever I need to say to myself, I try to encourage myself as I would to an athlete.
Well, and one of the things that I don't know if we all realize when we're setting up coach goals, when you set a goal, and it's the same for an athlete or coach, but it affects everybody along your journey, not just you. Okay, because like for example, I'm just going to use the Apple Watch goal, right? It says 30 minutes on that elliptical, get the 400 calories, right? That affects the energy of how I show up, and it affects who I'm delivering or how I'm providing that product or service. Yes. Does that make sense? So that it affects everybody when you set it, not just you. You create a huge ripple effect when you set the goal, and the wind may blow this way, and it's like, yeah, okay, got it, and I'll set that other goal to chart this way.
I love
this. And it's so much bigger than that once we set that, and as coaches especially, how we're showing up. It's a huge ripple effect. So I just want to point that out also.
I love that you brought this up, because how many of you have been around somebody who was super focused? They were just like on a mission, and you're like, whoa. To Ben's point, the ripple effect of that, you can feel that energy. What if you had that enticing of a goal in your heart and you brought that to the arena? The skaters will feel it, and often you'll just inspire them to set their own goals without even having to sit down and do it like a goal setting meeting. Well, that was tricky. Sit and set. Yeah,
I pulled it off. It was all good.
It was okay. I think we have one more slide when it comes to this. Now, one of the things about goal setting, and you know this from being a coach, but again, it's like apply it to myself here, okay? Focus on one area, okay? Something you want to improve, develop, or change, but really focus on one area. Ben was mentioning health. If you want your health to be stronger, maybe go, okay, I'm on a health mission for the next season. So maybe that's a quarter, right? 3 months. Maybe it's a half a year project. But give yourself time to implement it, because sometimes if you set too many goals, you just feel the failure too quickly and you don't get anywhere. You're getting any traction or momentum. So setting a goal, think of it as a season goal and pick one area to really focus on.
Well, and I think that's really important. Great points. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm going to mention one more thing on that. Okay. Because when you focus on one area, another Jim quote, but one discipline affects the rest, right? It's like a snowball. One thing you do will affect the rest of everything. I'm a big believer in that. And you stick to it for a season. You have to give things time. Like it's like, I think it's the 90 days that always is magical, right? It's that 3-month period of if you did focus on one area to improve, develop, and change. When you follow one course until successful, which is the acronym FOCUS for that time period, if it was just one thing, I guarantee you that'll snowball into everything else that you do. Guaranteed. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents, but I think it's another great point to mention. So
I hope you guys are getting as excited as we are, because like the momentum, you guys, of setting a goal and just having something to look forward to that cannot be affected by something outside of you is magical. So grab the goal, write it down, put in the chat if you're starting to get inspired, #inspired. All right. Secret number 3. This, you guys, please, please, please keep an open mind here. We're going to walk you through it, but this is something that we have seen over and over coaches stumble on, okay? Create a coaching niche. Now, I am not saying, and we are not saying, that you're not supposed to know a lot about the sport. Of course you are. There's lots to know about figure skating, but have you noticed how much more there is to know lately, the last 10 years? You guys, it really, really, really helps when you follow your passion and you decide, this is my area, this is my jam, this is where I'm going to be an expert.
Well, and the thing is, today, the sport is so sophisticated. I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of nodding behind the webinar screen, but it is so sophisticated. So if we can find the niche, I mean, mine's the kind of the Dartfish harness. So, I mean, I'm on a team with many different coaches, but developing the niche of what I spotted was what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and dive into it and, do what I can, do the best I can, and rest very little at it. Okay. And that's another thing. You do what you can, best you can, and rest very little at it. Like you said, choreography, if we develop that niche, we become that ripple again. We become someone so powerful within the industry that, you know, it's kind of like in coaching, it's one of the things, like, I realize that nobody owes me a job or a paycheck, right? But if I can develop a niche, and say this is what I provide within that space, you know, all of a sudden I can probably harness the skills and develop, and they will make room for you when you do that. So
yes, let me get really tactical with you guys. Think of this as a menu. Okay, if you walk into a restaurant and you say, hey, I would like to order some food, and they don't give you a menu, you don't even know where to start, right? You don't know, well, is this Mexican food? Is it Thai food? Can I order a salad? You don't know. And that's kind of like coaching, right? Just because someone walks in an arena doesn't mean they know what you have to offer. So what do you offer as a coach? What's on your menu? What can you do? What do you want to do? Here's the thing. Don't have anything on your menu you don't want to provide. I learned that really early in coaching. There are things that I don't want to coach. And that's just as important to leave off my menu and say, no, you got to go talk to that guy for the triple Lutz as it is to have choreography on my menu for you to order. So think of it that way. You may even sit down and write down your top things, like you hope everyone orders, top 3 things. Let's say you love learn to skate. I mean, some people are like learn to skate mavens. They just get everybody on the ice inspired, whether they wanted to skate or not, and then everyone comes back. Some people, they're amazing with edges and twizzles and ice dance, and they're just like, just the person you want to do edge classes with every day. Then some people, they're like, okay, you know what? If there's no jumping involved, I'm not even teaching. That's your technical person, right? So what is on your coaching menu, and how are you creating your coaching niche?
Well, and also once you develop it and harness it and focus on it, embrace your niche, you know, dig in and share. Because once we do that, I mean, there is an I in team, by the way. Okay. I want everybody to know that there is an I. It's what I bring to the team and how it's all going to function and create and systematize. And we all bring the best that we can for the client or the athlete in front of us. That's a very powerful thing. So embrace it, dig it in, share it, and become the best you can be at it.
Put in the chat, you guys, if you can relate to this, okay? Just a thumbs up even if you're getting this idea of this niche, and maybe this is a new concept, or maybe you're totally like, Jadene, I got my menu, I can send it to you right now. Awesome. Even reviewing things, you guys, as a coach is so essential. We ask skaters to review things every single day. We need to as well. So our little idea here is that more focus means more value. When you can focus on what you bring to the table, what your gifts are, and as Ben says, embrace that, own it, then that brings more value to your clientele, right? They know what to expect. They know what they're buying, and they know they can count on you for it too.
Everything she said times 2.
Times 2. All right, Nina, is anyone saying anything in the chat when it comes to understanding, or a thumbs up?
Everyone is so engaged. It's amazing. Even if they're not engaged, you know, with the group, I'm talking to people, they're giving all of their philosophy. It's so great to hear. I just want to make one point about something, because not all of us are in clubs in cities, right? We don't all have a team atmosphere to be coaching on. And from my experience, I've coached in a small town and I was the only coach. So I'm just going to share what Carol has to say here. As a coach in the rural club, I look at my niche as a family practice and surround myself with specialists to enrich the experience for my skaters, which I just think is so fantastic. So thank you, Carol, for sharing that with us.
I agree, but that's owning your niche right there, saying that, right? If you're going to be that fulcrum center point, beautiful. Like that's how that would, and you know, like that's such a great point you mentioned. Like you may be the one that holds all the pieces together too.
Yes, the center.
Right? And that's a great niche. It's an essential niche to the whole team, right?
It is essential.
Brilliant.
Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely brilliant.
All right. Should we move on to the next point? Secret number 4. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, this is something that gets stepped over all the time. Develop your communication style. Now, it says style because everyone has their own personal style. This is like choreography. Everyone has their own vibe, their own movement, their own way of presenting themselves in the world. And when you go from skater to now coach, or maybe you're evolving as a coach, you want your communication style to evolve as well. one of the unique things in our industry is oftentimes there is a time limit. You have to get your point across really effectively. And if you don't work on your communication style and how you want to communicate effectively, you can get a little bit lost here and a little frustrated too.
Well, also I agree. And here's where this is something I work on constantly. And I think all of us professionals on here, we work on every single day when we step out and we go, okay, now we're going to start communicating, right? We're doing it. We're doing it anyway. It's just that, you know, when you develop your own communication style, and this is something you have, well, harness over maybe the past 20 years at it, right? Just going, okay, so also asking questions. Do you understand what I'm getting at? And of course the skater's gonna say, she's like, yeah, no, you don't, do you? So it's like, then you have to go deeper into that, right? Like, okay, so what do you not get, right? So then you ask more questions and more feedback. And that's part of, I think, engagement of communication, right? So asking the questions, getting some feedback. You know, also, you know, if we're doing their seminar, I can tell, okay, who's engaged and not engaged, but I look at the crowd, right? Like that's kind of, okay, I better pick it up over here, right? And so that's developed. That's, you know, it's another part of the secret number 4 of developing the mastery is communication's everything, and how it's communicated, how it's delivered. And I think that's a huge part of again, the conversation of where we're leading today. So yeah,
you guys, I just want to say, we brought it up as a secret, and obviously it's not really a secret when you think about it, but it is something that I think a lot of people can relate to, where it's frustrating. I've heard coaches sometimes say to me, well, I've been saying the same thing for 3 months and they don't get it. And I want to say, oh man, the skater, but it's like, wait a minute, let's think about this. If you've been saying it the same way for 3 months and they don't get it, maybe we got to relook at how we're communicating, right? Look at the message. Look at how can that athlete understand what I'm getting at here. Now, sometimes it's just because there's almost like a cultural gap. Like example, when I first started coaching skaters that were using a lot of technology, so as the wave, and I'm kind of call it a wave, maybe it's a tsunami of technology started to happen, you know, people were more engaged on their phones than they were in real life sometimes. So I actually started teaching people on Snapchat, for example, like putting a little message, and then during the flood break, they would look at the Snapchat and all of a sudden they would do what I'm asking. So sometimes it's about being flexible, going with the flow, but still always knowing what your goal is and getting across the thing that you want to. So
brilliant.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do like to say, no matter how much you love it, if you can't share it effectively, it won't matter, right? Nobody can read your mind.
Well, and that's the thing is the one song, if you could read my mind. But
yes,
it's true.
But
the thing is that I think a lot of this conversation about the coach communication is it all goes back to your philosophy and how you want to communicate, right? It really is tied into that. So the more we work on in a philosophy of, okay, what is the communication? How do I want to communicate? You know, like it all ties back into that question number 1. I believe is that philosophy. It's all tied into that. Yeah.
It is. Yes. And you set the framework, right? So let's dig into this a little bit more. As a coach, you don't only have to communicate while speaking, but that is kind of your primary thing, right? You're going to be speaking to athletes of different ages. You're going to be speaking to clients, meaning their parents, right? How do you communicate with them? You're going to be speaking to other coaching colleagues. How do you communicate effectively with other colleagues and get along? Even if they're not in your same club, they may be in your region, or maybe you're online with them, going back and forth. Then once you have your speaking, your clarity, your delivery, your language, that kind of intentionality around communication, I hate to tell you, but you know this one, you have to do some writing. And you know what? For some of us, it comes a little bit easier than others. But remember, you're going to have to at some point do some emails, probably some text messaging. Socials is our little thing for like social media posts. Of course, we're all doing that these days. Here's the thing. If you are really struggling with the writing piece, maybe you partner with somebody. Maybe there's somebody that you know that's quite a good writer. You partner with them. They help you out. Like, you don't have to do it all alone, but you do want to recognize that these are tools that you want in your tool belt. And then the video, I always think of that as a bonus, right? If you can show the skater a video, if you can, you know, help them analyze their skating on video, if you can send video messages, all these things add to your communication style.
And all 3 of these pillars are great. Okay. And, you know, something that's funny, you mentioned the writing part. I'm a terrible writer. So of course I have, you know, if it's a draft email, I'll run it by you, but also it may be just, you know what, I want to go back to speaking. Like I might just go, listen, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes. and I need to talk to you, because that's another part of, you know, communication. You pick your own philosophy and how you do it best, right? Like, for example, video, like, I mean, that's a great engagement on communication, because I knew as an athlete, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see my triple axel plateau. And once I saw it, I was like, actually, it doesn't look too bad, right? Or, ooh, that landing, got to work on that. But it's, you know, there's things like that in how it's communicated. It's really well laid out in that, you know, with our philosophy, we can kind of go, okay, where are we on this? Where are we on this? Where are we on this? And there's so many great ways to communicate today across so many different platforms. It's almost overwhelming, really, in a way.
It can be overwhelming,
but at the same time, that you know, it almost is an advantage in that, you know, you can look at that and go, okay, where am I going to work on this, and develop more mastery around that to become a better communicator.
Yeah, and you guys, I want to tie this back to secret number 1. Your philosophy is something that's personal to you, but don't assume that your client knows your philosophy, right? Communicate it with them. I always like to communicate, okay, this is exactly what I'm working on with your skater. This is exactly what I'm intending to do in this season. And here's the other deal. This is my little rule of thumb that I always abide by because it saves my butt. So major secret, write it down. Email and texting is for information. It's to communicate information, not emotion, and not back and forth communication. Okay, so I never answer an email that's like, what do you think of blah, 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 blah. No, to me, that's set up a phone call and talk it through, right? So don't get caught in that. You don't have to answer an email directly and get into an emotional back and forth, because technically it's going to be probably even muddier and get worse. So if it's information, the Zoom class starts at 4 o'clock. This is the link. Yes, that's an email. But if you get roped into being back and forth on email and text, it's usually not really good. So that's my little rule of thumb that I use.
Great rule of thumb.
All right, guys, we're almost on number 5. I just want to pause here before we start diving into number 5. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if this is helpful, if you're making notes, if there's anything that's just resonating with you. I'm hoping we're on to stuff that can be, like I said at the beginning, really applicable right away. So Nina, how are we doing? We're getting some thumbs up. We're getting some people feeling like they're getting this value of these secrets.
Lots of applause.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Very helpful.
Fantastic.
Great
And
information.
sorry?
Yep, great information, everyone's saying.
Oh, so good, so good. You know, it's funny because like you can think of what you think is valuable, but you want to make sure you're delivering that value. So speaking of delivering value, Ben, stand for your coaching standards.
Okay, so my mind's like a parachute, right? It only works when it's open, but it's not so open my brains fall out. True? Now,
Mind talk?
you make it, well, maybe. Okay, you want to take it as that. But here's the deal. You got to stand for your coaching standards, right? So you take a stand on, okay, this is what I believe out of my philosophy to be true. And, you know, after going through the process of, you know, because we're coaches, we're grinders, right? Grind, perform. What, 7 minutes? Grind, days, hours, perform. Another 7 minutes. So, you know, stand for your own standards in the grind, right? And find that mastery in all of that. I think that this is a huge secret, is take that stand for your standards and, you know, have that mind open. But honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's been great because I attend a lot of seminars myself and you know, especially in the beginning of my coaching career, you know, and I continue to, there's no arguing that. I mean, you know, there's so many things going on today and different techniques, but take it into your mind. Go, okay, does this seem like a good idea? Yes, no, based on my experience, but also go, okay, you know, maybe that's something I can implement, but maybe part of it. But so you're taking a stand for your standards. And I think that's a great secret to share today.
Exactly. So let's look at some of the areas in which we want to have our own coaching standards. Number 1, self-care. So here's the deal, guys. Taking care of yourself is a reflection of your own standards. Now, I know that this is something we know intimately from coaching. We're always asking athletes to what? Show up on time, have everything prepared, eat some nutritious food, get some good sleep. But are we willing to do that for ourselves? Everyone who's been a coach has been an athlete before, so you know this. But it's easy to let it slide, get busy, get overwhelmed, or go, you know, later, I'll do that later. But really, your vitality as a coach, how you're able to show up and who you're being really comes back to your self-care.
And I take a look at every single number here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say number 1 is the priority. And I like the way that it's on the top. Because if we don't master the self-care, how are we going to show up to deliver technical expertise? How are we going to communicate and be artistic and be perfect? Like how are you going to do that without the number 1? I mean, that's the priority. The only thing we can really give is what we are willing to give away, and it's what we have. So I think that, you know, when you look at that, you look at the top of it, you go, yeah, boom, 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 boom. But the priority is, I believe, going to be number 1.
Yeah, and you guys, here's another little piece of self-care. I know that sometimes when I say self-care or I hear it online, it sort of conjures up this idea of like, oh, she had a 2-hour-long bath. Well, I get it. I'm not trying to say that you have time to do a huge amount of time on this, but it might even just be the way you talk to yourself. What do you say to yourself when you're heading into the rink, right? Are you hard on yourself, or do you forgive yourself? Are you willing to say, hey, you got this. Let's go, coach, right? Are you your own cheerleader? Because we're always wanting the skaters to be open and be willing and be positive. If we're not doing that ourselves, that can affect our self-care. So just knowing that this is a standard you want to take for yourself. And like I said, in the coaching goal section on number 2, the second secret, maybe self-care becomes your goal for the season or this quarter, right? And then it'll affect your ability to take your technical expertise to the next level, the way you communicate it. It'll probably help you be more inspired for the artistry on the ice. And you know what? I think when you honor yourself, you naturally become more professional.
Well, and like we talked about earlier, the Jim Rohn thing too, you know, maybe another little nugget that I can give away here today is, you know, work harder on yourself than you do in coaching.
Ooh,
right?
Say it one more time.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your coaching. Okay. Because once we do that, it's like that one snowball, that one discipline will just affect the rest of everything. And, you know, the world will open up. I mean, that's my belief. And anyway, I think these are all great points, these numbers. And by the way, it was more than a 2-hour-long bath. It was more like 3 last night. I
3-hour-long bath.
You know, so, you know, I'm just saying, like, nice try. But
well, you have to do face masks too. And like, you know, get your skin prepared.
Now that I was counting that, I was.
There's someone on this call who understands what I'm saying. Just saying. Okay, you guys, let's review. And we didn't see secrets on this slide because they're no longer secrets. You guys have these in your tool belt. So please screenshot this, take it. Nina, again, creating beautiful slides for you to put into your phone. So own your philosophy. If you ever feel lost in your coaching, come back to this. What's my philosophy? Why am I doing this? Okay, it's going to ground you. It's going to get you feeling like yourself again. Number 2, set a coaching goal. You know, it might even just be, I want to have a different outfit on every day. And that could be just a fun goal to set, but set yourself a coaching goal for your season. Create your coaching niche. What's on your menu? What are you delivering? What do you want to deliver? And by the way, if you're doing stuff you don't like, take it off the menu. Just saying. Number 4, develop your communication style. Maybe you're like Ben, you can rhyme all the time. Maybe you're like myself. I tend to be quite animated. Maybe you just love, you know, being behind the video camera. There's nothing wrong with it, but develop your personal coaching communication style. And number 5, stand for your coaching standards.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, cat's out of the bag. It's running down the street. These are all boom. This is it. It's all there. So, you know, all of these points and all of our conversation today. I mean, you know, I think that's it's been awesome, because once we know our own philosophy, we can now choose the goal. We can create our own niche to bring and provide and to serve and to share, and, you know, develop our own style around it, but also have standards that we want to implement. And yeah, this is it. Run down the street, people.
Exactly. It's Q&A time. So pop your questions right into the chat. And we know that Nina will help us to make sure we get the right answers to you. Of course, this is always the hot seat. Now we're on the hot seat. What are the questions? What do you guys need to know in regards to the secrets? Oh yes, Nina's ready for us. I can
Coming back online.
Feel it.
Sorry, I was just answering some questions. Carol, you will be given, everyone, just so everyone knows, they're asking, can we get a picture of this slide? But you guys will, not this one, sorry, not you, Ben.
Oh, well, I'm like, thanks so much. Like, that's awesome.
You guys will all be sent the replay of this, okay? So not to worry, you can always go back and refer to any of the slides. There was a question about, I think it was in secret number 2 or 3, an acronym that you were talking about, Ben. And I didn't catch it, but I don't know if you remember.
Was it focus? Was it that one?
Maybe.
Okay,
Let's say this again. Nice and slow.
Okay, so and I heard this one. I was a seminar one. I wish I could give credit to who.
I think it's a Robert Cusack.
Maybe it is, yeah. Because I remember I was at the seminar, and he always used to write stuff on the whiteboard, right? And it was, you follow one course until successful. That's focus.
Focus. Follow one course until successful.
Thank you for slowing that down.
Well, sometimes we have to, another Jim Rohn quote, I know we've leaned on him a lot, is repetition is the mother of skill. And so repeating something even can sink into your brain differently. So follow one course until successful, and that's focus.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we have a question here about the communication. How can as a coach, how can I find what style of learning my skater has so I can communicate?
Awesome question. Okay, let's dive into this a little bit. So you're going to notice there are 3 main areas of learning style. So visual, which we talked about last week on our webinar, is usually the most common. Okay, most people, as like probably 70%-ish, they want to see something in order to really understand it. Okay, then you also have auditory learners, more listening. They need to hear the instructions, maybe hear it again. And then there are the kinesthetic learners. They're really physical, they're fidgety, they keep moving, they drive us a little crazy sometimes, their skates are always moving. So those are the 3. Now, here's a couple tips that are going to be extremely important when you're trying to develop how you communicate with these people, okay? Number 1, watch for where they struggle. So if a kinesthetic learner has to stay still for too long, you won't get any communication out of them. I taught someone that was so kinesthetically inclined that I never stood still with her. In fact, I would just skate around with her, like around the perimeter of the rink. We would do like bunny hops and stuff. She was 8 at the time. And I would talk to her while we were moving, while we were grooving. And eventually I'd say, okay, all right, Axel. And she'd go do it. But she was able to then connect with me, hear me totally differently than if I would have made her stand still and watch what I was doing. A visual learner, you'll see them. They're always watching everybody else. They're seeing what's going on. They're all in the session. They're figuring things out. And they struggle with not being able to see something, right? If they're just like, you know, there's no example on a stroking session, for example, if you just say, okay, go do this, 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 and you haven't given a visual example, they're going to be like, I'm stuck. Okay. An auditory learner often struggles when there's too much volume in the arena, too much loud music or too much chaos, or there's a kid screaming in the stands and they can't keep their focus with you. So sometimes seeing where people struggle is a way to see what their natural way of learning is. And of course, these intermingle and they interconnect. Now, the second piece of this, I know this is a bit long-winded, sorry, Ben, but one of the things that is really essential is once you work with your skater and you know their learning style, make sure you empower them to know their learning style so that your auditory learner, tell them, okay, you know you need to hear it again, so ask for what you need. Tell me, please say it again. Please give me the instructions again. Tell your visual learner. If they need it again, say, can you show me? Can you please show me? The kinesthetic, can I follow you? So it becomes a responsibility that they share with you, and they can get more out of the communication because they're owning their piece of it. Is there anything you want to add?
Number 1 is great. Can you repeat the middle part about that again? I just can't remember.
Are you an auditory learner?
No, but like, I'm just saying, like, I think going back to the sales setting today, coaches, is that I know for us, we've had to adjust a little bit of the learning stuff because, again, due to the distancing and due to all of that, right? You know, what I tried to attempt to do is encompass all 3. So maybe visual on the Dartfish, maybe, you know, kinesthetic, walking them through positions, which is out today. I can't physically do that. So setting the new sail of, okay, that wind blew this way. Yeah. How do we get creative within the constraints in the box of public health and go, okay, how can I do this effectively? I might double up on the auditory and the visual because that's all I've got. Or
you get them to hold on to their skate guards and physically feel something.
You know, right? That's a great question to bring today because right now during this time of wind blowing that way and wind blowing this way, there may be challenges with, okay, the kinesthetic part in terms of delivering how we used to do that based on what it was in 2019, right? So great question.
I hope we've answered that. If she has a follow-up question, just let us know. But let's move on from there. But I hope that's at least a little bit of insight.
Yeah, some people are saying that example about skating around the kinesthetic learner. I'm totally changed my method tomorrow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. One more thing. Sorry. If your clients are going to love you. If you have a breakthrough with a skater, like when I had that breakthrough with that kid and I started going around the ice with her and I got it that she was kinesthetic, I told her mom about it. And I empowered her mom to know how to communicate with her better, and it changed their relationship. So sometimes you can actually share that with their parents or their guardian. And honestly, you guys, it's so fun. It's so fun for them because they now have a better relationship too. So little tidbit there.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we have a question here. Laura, improving motivation in skaters, especially ones that feel a little burned out from a lot of Zoom classes during the pandemic.
Oh, isn't that the $1 million question right now? but this is really good. And I think, motivation and comes to motive, what's the motive for the action? Okay. Because right now, I don't know. I mean, I think all colleagues will agree with me. We're just in a really big holding pattern right now. You find it? Like, it's like, the goal will be to land, and where, on what runway? Like, where? So this is a great question. And I think what it is too is it comes down to now, I think, communication and delivery, and doing other sorts of types of things. I know you might have a lot to say about this too, but fortunately in Alberta, we ran one qualifying. We actually did a live one where I think we were one of the sections to do that, but that was great. But now it's kind of like, what? Like, it's like, so it's going to be a very big challenge in how we manage it. You see, Zoom classes, they're all, like you say, it's like, we're Zooming in again. Yeah, we're doing that. It's a good question, but
it is.
Maybe it's creating incentive. You have something to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, in a normal setting, okay, if we're not talking Zooms and pandemic stuff and that kind of time, people are only motivated by their own values. Okay, so they're only motivated by what they actually value and want to achieve. So I'll give you an example. Without Zoom and then a Zoom one. So I had a skater that I was working with. She was really, really feisty, really fun. And she came around the ice one day and she started skating, let's just say a little sloppy. It looked really sloppy and I didn't like it. And I waved her over, and she was 9 at the time. So she was all up in her business. And I said, hey, can you please do some more stroking and more edge work before you jump? And she, no, kitty cat. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I'm a major cat person, just in case.
It's not running down the street.
Yes. She was disgusted by the fact that I had her stop and go back to edge work. She had rolled the eyes and was just, heck no. And I can tell the story because she knows the story. I still teach her. She's 15 now. And I paused her 30 minutes later and I said, okay, what are you still mad? And she's like, oh no, I wasn't mad. And I said, all right, listen, I know why you're mad. You think I'm holding you back. Well, yeah, right? And that's when I explained to her, I said, all right, I noticed that you skate because you like to win. You like to go compete and win, don't you? And she's like, yes, like she just lit up like a Christmas tree. And I said to her, I promise you something today. I will never, ever, ever ask you to do something that I don't think will help you win. How about that? And when she got that, she changed her mind. So I linked it to her values, and you may or may not know that clearly what the values of the skater is, but if you can link something to their values, whether it's a Zoom class or whatever it is, that is huge. Then the flip side of that is give them a platform. I have had many classes recently where skaters literally are like stuck in their house. They can't leave their house. So they're not even having fun at school or anything like that. And I give them a platform, like, tell me what's bothering you. What are you frustrated by? What are you disappointed by? What do you wish was different? And letting them voice it. Let them get it out of their system. Let them write it down. Let them, get it out, because none of us are superhuman. We can't go forever. We need to also share our frustration and our disappointment. And then it loosens the load. It lightens the load before you continue. So I really hope that's helpful.
And we can get the motive behind the action. I mean, because, and I agree, it's a very challenging thing. Like, for example, we don't have events, so there's the preparations, like these are our section anyway, but maybe, you know, I focus on assessments, or I focus on, but, you know, but I could do, but again, finding the values, I think is a very great point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Yes, she says, love this. Thank you so much. And there's some other questions around that same sort of topic, just how to keep, you know, even athletes that are injured, maybe they've been off for 6 to 12 months, engaged and connected to the sport, especially during COVID. And then some coaches commenting, yeah, it's just tough right now to motivate. I hear this comment often. Well, there's no competitions this year, so who cares, right? So managing, you know, expectations around that is probably very helpful.
And all coaches, to be honest with you, it's been a bit of a challenge. Like, I mean, you know, for example, kids, I've tried to just keep them going with that. So, because if we're ready to do something, I want to be ready. But also, let's work on some skill acquisition. You know, I mean, let's work on some other things like that. Let's work on so it's balancing that, but also being that holding pattern of go. If we're going to be called to go, we're going to have to be ready as well. So it's tricky, and I agree.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is why we wanted to share the coaching secrets about ourselves, because if you're inspired and you're motivated as a coach and you show up, like, I mean, I've been doing different pieces of choreography on Zoom, like a ton of different stuff, different ideas, different artistic points of view. And the skaters have tried new things they never usually try. And it's been really, really fun and engaging. And also bring them back to now. Okay. Like, we can't control what happened the last 6 to 8 months. We can't control what's happening the next 6 months. Like, make their window a little smaller. Stay with me. Let's get this class. Let's do this push-up. Let's do this the best we possibly can. And our whole theme for September with Skating Success, like on our morning show and all those things, is celebration. Maybe we take this whole month and we just learn to celebrate, pat ourselves on the back. Hey, great job. You held the splits for longer today. Awesome. That is our mini competition today. So work in the language of what they want within what they can do and what they have in front of them.
Love it. Awesome.
Okay. Oh my God, we're running out of time, you guys.
There are a few more questions, but I know Ben and Jadene, you guys have an amazing special surprise for all these coaches here. So let's reveal what you guys want to share with them.
Yes, and we'll email you guys, because we'll have the whole transcript. So we'll have the notes and we'll do follow up on those questions. And thank you so much for your engagement, you guys. We can feel the energy through the screen, so we love it. All right, we have been busy at work, of course, pivoting this business to move it online so that it's accessible to you guys wherever you are on your own terms. And we've really thought about, okay, what do coaches need? They need support, right? If you're looking for support, if you're looking for refreshing your coaching style, like getting reinvigorated, remotivated yourself, or if you just need more guidance, more technique, more artistic guidance for the figure skating of today, which is it's a whole new animal compared to like 15 years ago, really, truly. So this is our answer to that question: online courses. And of course, you know, we've bundled them up for a big sale.
No pun intended, of course. But that's what's been great about the pivot of this too is that, you know, in the masterclass format, what was great about it was to go, okay, everything that we did, every class that we do, right, bringing it down into instructional content that, by the way, I'm just going to throw it out here, 20 years ago, when I first started doing that, I had to wait, you know, for the package to arrive in the mail. You guys don't even have to wait for Amazon. We can just go click the button and then you're instantly in there. So, and this is what we want to do. We wanted to bundle up for December and do the packages that we have here ready to offer today. So
exactly. So we'll jump right into it. We're going to explain it. We have 3 courses that are set for sale in 2020. We have more courses coming in 2021. Don't worry. But for right now, we have an axle course, we have an edges and turns course, and a spin to win course. And each course has 17 videos. They're instructional. There are examples, video examples, written examples, all of the things written down. It's a member portal. So when you log into it, you can see, I'll just pop it. Oh, that's a couple slides away. Okay. Anyways, we'll show you the member portal. It's like a place where you can go and you can review, you can make your notes, and you can come back to it again and again. It's not a course that you have to show up live. We know you're busy. We know you've got all the things going on. This is like at your own pace, whenever you feel like it, Saturday morning with coffee, after skating, if you're wired from the rink, whatever it is. But those are the 3 we have for sale right now. We've bundled them in the following ways. So you can do edges and turns and spin to win, or axle and spin to win, or axle and edges and turns. Of course, the best savings is always getting all three. This is the best sale we're going to do on these. So you're going to want to get in on it. And keep in mind, if you wanted to come and see us live, it would be so much more expensive than this, obviously, just with travel, with the cost of the day, all of the things. So we're trying to create the value, but at a much better cost for you guys. So those are the bundles, and the link to it is going to be in the chat. Nina's just going to put the link right there. You can take your time. You can look through it. We're going to keep it open until tomorrow. So that's what we're doing. Now let's look at the member portal. Ben, what do you think about the course and how it's laid out?
Well, and just a reminder to Skate Canada coaches, if they're on, the continuous education program is still going. So this, for CEP, I think this is, it's not NCCP, but it's a great opportunity to gain those points that we need for the cycle, right?
That's true too.
And, we always have those forms of masterclass we deliver, because that's part of, my learning and everyone else's learning. It's a continuous education program. But the UI, what we wanted to create with it was something that was simple, easy, straightforward, and honestly, it's taken a long time for us to get there. But once we're here, and when we want to do this for some time, but COVID kind of forced us to pivot around and do it. The UI, user friendly, mobile device, tablet, PC, it's all there, and it's all online. And like I said earlier, the repetition part, you can go back a lot and review a lot of the content that we provided anytime that you wish. So
exactly. And these videos are easy to access. You can see them. There's voiceovers. There's all these examples you can show your skaters, and everything, you guys, is in a very linear process. We've made sure that every single course is like start to finish. You're going to have something specific to teach each thing, whatever the course may be. Okay. So here's some of the feedback we've already had from our friend and colleague, Gina. We're just so grateful for you, Gina. You've been such a support of skating success. And I know your skating success and coaching success has really taken off in the last 10 years since we've met. But of course, she has said that this is part of her coaching toolkit now, something that she can come back to again and again. And she's actually attended live masterclasses, and also when she's purchased the course, realized, here, this is what I needed to continue and to keep going and be in the philosophy, again, that repetition is the mother of skill. So this is how you can do this with us. So our Icy Friday sale is on until tomorrow. We really hope you bundle up and save with us. And remember, we don't go anywhere, right? I mean, once you buy, you can ask us personal questions, you can email us. We're not about like throwing you in the deep end. It's the opposite. We want to invite you into this coaching circle, give you our very, very best information, as always.
Yeah, and for December, we're really not going anywhere. So it's
that's right.
It's not just, this is the way it's going to look like. So anyway,
we'll be here.
Anyway, so hit us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We got a YouTube channel too. We've got content on there as well to help out.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you all.
There's more detail on our website as well, skatingsuccess.com. If you want to just read a little bit more about each course, but every single thing we put into this is our best stuff. We're not putting junk into these courses. We're just giving everything away and at the best quality we possibly can provide. So thank you guys so much for being on this with us. Nina, just a check-in, is there any burning question or anything we need to answer from your end that we missed?
Yeah, people are asking about just about the course. I just wanted to share with you guys, it's about 3 major modules, why they teach it this way, how to teach, what to teach, and when to teach, with tons of examples and videos. You can watch the course in around under 2 hours. And Carla, is it shareable? Yes, if you're a coaching team, you get 1 membership link. So if you want to share that information with your team and learn together, absolutely. You guys can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like any online course. If you've purchased something else in a different genre, you have that login right away. So as soon as you click and pay, then you get access right away. And of course, you know what we would love to see is coaches all in one club sitting around and learning together and put it on the big screen and maybe pause it and talk about it. Like, the whole point of Skating Success is sharing and being part of something that we all feel more support and that we can get into. And yet at the same time, this is very technical. Every single course is step-by-step in order so that you're not confused. You're not like, well, when do I do this? No. We've given you the layout step-by-step and then examples and then deeper knowledge of what we do and why we do it. So I hope that's helpful because this has been a real labor of love. So we're grateful that it's available. And of course, if you only want to buy one course, you still can. It's just we bundled them so you can save money on them for sure.
Well, if you've been to a master class before, I know that I'm sure many of the colleagues out there have.
Mm-hmm.
We always have the coaches circle. Okay, the coaches is this circle, and we actually, you know what? We've got the Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the coaches circle on Facebook, please join the group. But the coaches circle is very important for us to, again, break the ice in the beginning of the day, but also close the day with the conversation, because we're going to go through everything. And you know, it's just a different way of connecting in the circle now with these courses and what we wanted to provide in this ever-changing, wind blowing this way and that way world that we're trying to adjust the sail and deal with. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed the purchase, and yeah, to your skating success, everybody.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being with us today. We so appreciate every single one of you wherever you are. We love you guys, and we feel your support. We hope you feel ours. Here's to your skating success, and we'll see you guys next time.